Hi, I'm Irene Tansman, author of A.B. and Arlene's Autism War. If you have a loved one enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, or you are considering rehabilitation for your loved one with autism and/or IDD, or you yourself are enrolled in a rehabilitation facility, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. Today, I'd like to share with you some parts of an excellent behavior plan created by my son's private behaviorist. We hire a private behaviorist, which we pay for privately, and then we advocate to his provider agency to carry out this plan as much as possible in his day and residential, his group home programming. And of course, we carry this out as much as possible at home when he visits us and on the weekends. I hope that sharing some of these excellent suggestions will help someone viewing this video. One of the reasons I absolutely love this plan is it makes use of the antecedents for some of my son's undesirable behavior. So let's dive into it right now. This is a plan that focuses on teaching adaptive skills rather than on punishments. So here goes. Here are the suggestions that she has. Now, this is number one. First, it's during a meal. Isaac and his roommates, his housemates, are having a meal together. Now, when Isaac is done or almost done eating his food, he looks over at somebody else's food. Now, this is the antecedent for stealing. We're not going to punish him. What we're going to do instead is we're going to instruct him on what he can do instead of stealing that's going to get him what he wants. So here's her suggestion. As soon as you notice Isaac looking over at someone else's food, tell him something similar to, if you want more food, you can press eat and move his hand towards the eat button on his hip talk. Now, Isaac has a hip talk communicator, which he wears at all times, and that has several buttons on it for his most frequently needed requests. And he also has a communication software on his iPad for more specific requests. Now, I have a video specifically on the hip talk, and I'm going to place a link to that below. So if you want more information on the hip talk, I already made a video about that. I think that this is so important because we don't really have really good instruction on teaching individuals who use AAC devices how to use the AAC devices, and this plan really delves into it. So here's another one. During or after a meal, Isaac and his roommates are having a meal together. Isaac is done eating, or he's almost done eating his food. And then he reaches over towards somebody else's food. So he looks over at somebody. We're gonna direct him to the hip talk, and now he's reaching over. We're gonna intercept that. As soon as you notice Isaac reaching for someone else's food, tell him something similar to, if you want more food, you can press E, and move his hand towards the eat button on his hip talk. As soon as Isaac pushes the eat button, give him food and reinforce. Here's another one. During downtime at home, when Isaac is sitting in his armchair and he does not have his iPad with him, Isaac looks over at somebody else's iPad, tablet, or phone. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to attempt to steal. As soon as you notice Isaac looking over at somebody else's iPad, tablet, or phone, tell him something similar to, if you want your iPad, you can press iPad on the hip talk and move his hand towards the iPad button on the hip talk. As soon as Isaac pushes the iPad button, give him his iPad. Reinforce it. Here's another one. Isaac is done with his meal, and a staff member tells Isaac he has to clear the table. Oy vey. Isaac begins to make loud noises and stomp his feet. Well, the consultant must have seen that when she went to observe the group home. That sounds just like Isaac. As soon as you see Isaac making loud noises and stomping his feet, tell him something similar to, if you don't want to clear the table, you can press May I Be Excused and move his hand towards the May I Be Excused button on his hip talk. As soon as Isaac pushes the May I Be Excused button, let him walk away and stop doing what he's doing, reinforce. In other words, he gets out of having to clear the table because he asked to be excused. In other words, we're not punishing the behavior, the stomping and making loud noise. We're not going to punish that. What we're going to do is we're going to instruct him on how is he going to get what he wants instead. What are we going to do to get him to communicate instead of having the maladaptive behavior? Now, here's another one that's similar to the previous one. Isaac is doing his laundry and putting clothes in the washing machine. Okay, well, Isaac stops putting the clothes in the washing machine and just begins to walk away from the washing machine. He's walking away from the washing machine. As soon as you see Isaac moving away, tell him something similar to, if you don't want to wash your clothes, you can press May I Be Excused and move his hand towards the May I Be Excused button on his hip talk. And as soon as Isaac pushes the May I Be Excused button, you just let him walk away and be excused from what he's doing. And that's reinforcing that communication. Now, in addition to these things, these are the things that happen in the normal course of life, the normal course of his day. But also, she wants us to contrive opportunities to initiate communication. And let me tell you here, this is very different from answering questions when somebody asks. This is not about what do you want? Not about what do you want. He has to tell us, he has to initiate the communication and tell us what it is he wants and get him to communicate instead of having undesirable behaviors such as stealing, stomping, screaming, whatever it is. So here are some of the contrived situations that she recommends that we do. Now, during a meal, and Isaac and his roommates are having a snack together, or could be the family having a snack together or a meal together, we're not going to give him a whole bunch of crackers or a whole bunch of food. Just give him a few crackers and give him the opportunity to request, or we call it manting, request more crackers. So don't just give him everything he wants. Give him the opportunity to ask for it so he gets that practice. Here's another one. During downtime at home, when Isaac is sitting in his armchair and he doesn't have his iPad with him, well, you can go and you can sit next to him. This is what she recommends. Go and sit next to him and play a video, maybe something really good like Hercules, and maybe put it a little bit out of his visual region, and entice him to press that iPad on his hip torque. Now, here's another one. Isaac is done with his meal, and the staff member tells Isaac he has to clear the table. Now, this is almost the same as the situation that comes up, but it's a little bit different because what you're going to do is before he starts clearing the table, you're going to tell him that if he doesn't want to do it, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. That's all you have to do is press, may I be excused, and you don't have to do a thing. You can just go. Now, and here's another one. It's similar to the one that's not a contrived situation, but this one is contrived. Isaac is doing his laundry and putting the clothes in the washing machine. When telling Isaac that he has to do his laundry, you can let him know that if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. That's all he has to do is he press that may I be excused button on his hip torque. So there are many wonderful things in this report, in the plan. She really knows what she's doing. I would give anything if Isaac's agency were to carry this out in full. It would be wonderful. But it's very difficult to get this implemented. It's going to take a lot of advocacy. But at least we're starting with a very, very, very good plan. And we need to have more instruction on using AAC devices in these programs for adults where they hadn't had the chance to use this technology before. I hope that this video has given you some ideas, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.